Hey guys, welcome back to Paper Made Me Do It. I thought I would do a March flip of my Hobonichi Cousin Avec, and when I was going back through my channel, I realized that I never did a flip for February. So I'm going to combine the two in this video and do a flip of February and March. So here we go. Starting out with February on this kind of blank cover page that you get each month. I just did some metallic watercolor in this background, and this little piece of art was drawn by my youngest son maybe a couple years ago, and I've just had it in my ephemera stash. So he followed a YouTube tutorial and drew this. It's like a cartoon version of the Venom superhero character. And so this starts out the month of February in my daily journaling. And you'll notice in a lot of these February pages, I just filled several pages in the month of February with just random things and did less written journaling than I do on some other days. This is some highlighter brush lettering that I outlined with a gel pen, same here. And these La Dolce Vita that look like stickers are actually off of a large roll of washi, and I just fussy cut them out with scissors so they look more like a sticker. But I had quite a few changes to my routine in the month of February. This was the month that I started working outside the home full-time 5 days a week, which I was not previously used to. So that is why there are more days in this month that have less written journaling, because I tended to fall behind several days in the month of February. This printable came from Courtney Diaz, Little Raven Ink, as well as this. Some more printables. I tried to do a little more cursive type lettering here. I tend to do more of the block print or the vertical kind of fatter brush lettering, so I don't do as much of this thinner cursive, but I like the way that looks, so I need to do more of that. Now this day was the first time I had done a little sketch in a while. This was a drawing of the new Superior Labor pouch that came in the stationery selection box that month. And these, well, this is another washi cutout like I was talking about earlier. This is an actual vinyl sticker from La Dolce Vita. And it may not be showing on camera, but I can tell in real life the difference between the vinyl and the washi, because the vinyl is just obviously thicker along the edge. More printables, hand lettering. Just stapled in this little printable from Courtney. Another Courtney printable, and this bright owl washi is from Allie Brown. Now these printables were part of the first free printable set that I released in March. So if you're interested in free printables for your journal, just look at my link tree in the description, and it will take you to a Dropbox that has free printables for March and April. These were part of the March release. And here we started winter break. That was another reason for you see very little journaling on some days. The kids were out of school for an entire week. And of course, this was in February before the school closures related to COVID-19. This is some La Dolce Vita washi tape that I purchased from Nico Neko online. And another one of those vinyl stickers, another one of my March printables. This was the custom rubber stamp that came in a stationery selection box recently. And on this page, this was a blank page that I had to go back to, and I decided to do some song lyrics. So I like that idea. That's another option if you have days that end up being blank that you want to go back and add something to and you can't remember what actually happened that day. I've been using poems to rewrite as well as song lyrics. Love this quote. I've used it several times over the years. Every child is an artist. The problem is staying an artist when you grow up. And that was Pablo Picasso. And this Marilyn Monroe quote, I believe, came on some packaging from an order that I had received from Baum Kuhn. Imperfection is beauty, madness is genius, and it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. I thought that was a cute quote too. This is a Courtney printable as well as this. Okay, and now we're into the month of March. So this is that blank intro cover page for the month. And again, this is a little piece of artwork that my son did when he was in 5th grade. I believe they were starting to work on shadowing in this lesson, so you can see where he showed me later what they did, and it was a really neat technique where they turned the pencil almost flat on the side and did some light shading, and then they had the kids take their fingertip and smear the pencil lead to get that shading. So I thought that turned out cute. And then I tend to do more like vintage vibe journaling in my traveler's notebooks, but this La Dolce Vita washi sticker with those colors, just, I don't know, it gave me kind of that vintage vibe feel, so I went ahead and pasted in a piece of ticket ephemera on this page. This little flower printable came from Cheyenne Barton's Patreon. And into the month of March, that was, you know, I'd had a month to kind of adjust to my new routine a bit. So in the month of March, you'll see that I much more heavily did sketching, and I followed the Hobonichi challenge for most of this month. So this was the Hobonichi challenge, a Spix Macaw. And what I started doing here is not only doing the sketch, but also writing a little text section to describe each animal, some facts and history. And I pulled most of that information off of Wikipedia or whatever site came up first on Google. Dr. Seuss quote. He has several really good quotes. If you're looking for fun or inspirational quotes, you can Google Dr. Seuss quotes. This was a Hobonichi challenge sketch of a passenger pigeon, and I believe I did a video on that process. This day, Thursday, you can see ended up being a blank page that I needed to go back to, and so I just did a little washi sample collage, and these are all of the tapes that I keep in my most frequently used, my little Galen leather, let's see, I have it right here if I can reach it, my little Galen leather desktop washi holder where you tear on the edge. So these are the washis that I used in this little sample spread. This cutout came from an old Flow magazine. Courtney printable, Hobonichi challenge sketch. Looks like I didn't do the text about him this day. I must have not allowed enough room. And on this Saturday, I did practically an entire page of journaling, and we had gone out of town that day, so I just added some of the tickets and ephemera to kind of break up the page as tip-ins. I used my Tim Holtz tiny attacher to staple them in. Okay, I'm pretty sure I did a process video on this guy. This is a Zanzibar leopard that was the Hobonichi challenge that day. And then on March the 9th, the Hobonichi challenge was this pretty bird. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but he's also called a black-faced honey creeper. And all of these animals, from what I understand, in the March Hobonichi challenge, sadly, all of the prompts are extinct animals, which is kind of sad, but I enjoyed sketching them all this month. And this was the day that we had our very first case of the coronavirus confirmed in Louisiana, March the 9th. And then March the 10th, I think I have a process video on this spread as well. This was the Madeiran large white butterfly Hobonichi challenge, the Carolina parakeet Hobonichi challenge, and I did work in some light journaling on these days. On Thursday, March the 12th, the Hobonichi challenge was a tiger. This is a Little Raven ink Courtney printable. On this Friday, the Hobonichi challenge was a pup fish, and almost all of these, save maybe one, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, this guy. This was the only one that I just did a quick little sketch with a charcoal pencil and did a light background around him. But I think all of the other Hobonichi challenge sketches throughout this month I started out with a ballpoint pen and then filled in with the Derwent Inktense pencils using a water brush. But we had our first case of COVID-19 on March the 9th, and it spread so quickly that by March the 13th, this is the day that our governor signed a proclamation to close all public schools effective the next Monday. So we had no school for 30 days effective this day. On Saturday the 14th, the Hobonichi challenge was a wolf, and I just added some quotes. This was done with the Sharpie brush pen, and this was just done with the water brush and some watercolor. On this day, I did a little journaling, another Courtney printable, some of the Allie Brown washi, little journaling here. I didn't do the Hobonichi sketches on this spread. This quote was kind of, about positivity, about hope. So I decided to add in this printable that came from My Life Mitts. She offered a sheet of free printables 1 month as well. A positive attitude will lead to positive outcomes. And these Japanese tearaway calendar sheets that you'll see kind of peppered throughout, they came in a stationery selection box that Mitts offers each month. This was a sad day. Lost my grandmother this day, so I journaled about that. And then on this Thursday, the Hobonichi sketch was a snail. And this day was the day of my grandmother's funeral, so it's predominantly journaling as well. And then this Saturday, the Hobonichi challenge was, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but it was basically a rat from the Bramble Cay, which is in Australia, I believe. some more of those washi stickers that I love. And the Chinese paddlefish was the Hobonichi challenge that day. A frog was the Hobonichi challenge prompt for this day. And I missed some days, but throughout, I'm just putting little tidbits about the virus and the numbers that are occurring in my state. We have a very informative website in my state, and they update us daily on the number of cases in the entire state, as well as the number of deaths, the number of cases within each of our parishes, which our parish is equivalent to the other states' counties. So it's very detailed information that's updated daily. So I tried to make some little notes about those numbers when I remembered to. The sketch for this day was a shark, and this little heart grouping as well as this printable came from the March free printables that I offered. The sketch on this Wednesday was a monkey. And some days I do a border and treat this like a, single spread. I don't do it every day, but when I think about it, I do like the look of that. There's a border here. I'm not sure if it's going to show on camera because it's so light. I just used some very light markers, a light green and a light blue, for kind of a little scalloped border. And this printable quote was in my March free printables. Just journaling on this Friday. This is some of my favorite washi ever. It came directly from the Hobonichi store, and it's a little bit wider than the normal washi width. On March the 28th, I did some hand lettering and journaling. Cooked a huge pot of chili this day. This was the day that I filmed a stay-at-home Saturday vlog. That was my first attempt at vlogging. I have a long way to go, but it was fun to try. And then Sunday, March the 29th, didn't do very much journaling that day, so I just filled it with a couple larger printables. This was an older printable that came from Courtney at Little Raven Ink. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly sure that this one came from Job. I don't know why I can never remember his channel name because I do watch him frequently, but it's either Job Journals or Job's Journals, and he offered a sheet of free printables as well, so I'm pretty sure that's where that one came from. And then on March the 30th, excuse me, this was a little collage sample from Courtney, as well as these day headers. And I do know that these hand-lettered printables that I cut out came from Job. He also has a website, and I'll try to link it in the description. But if you go to his website, he not only has that one recent free printable, he has 2 or 3 sections of freebies that you can take advantage of. And this was one of his older offerings that has days of the week. And this really pretty kind of, I think of that like quick lettering, brush lettering font. But I cut out several of those. This is some Ladure washi and an old printable from Courtney. And then we're into April. So that is it for February and March. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.